only two players left on the field to find each other, to connect with each other, to produce for each other, and to sell to each other. We may not have liked the monarchy, but now that it's overthrown, I think most of us are finding out that we don't like mob rule much better. It's confusing, it's disorienting, it's messy. And although we are proud that I think we have developed a new publishing ecosystem that has a democratic flair and allows all of us to pump our fists in the air and feel rebellious and anti-establishment, we're finding that the new rules aren't rules. They change all the time like the ground beneath our feet. So here's my thesis. If the publishing revolution, if we can agree on this, that the publishing revolution has been defined by radical disintermediation, which has torn down barriers to entry, which has handed out free access to powerful technology tools in production and distribution and marketing. If we can agree that the publishing revolution has created radical disintermediation, then what I want to propose is that you want an agent on your side who responds with radical mediation. If a traditional agent stands as a mediator between the creative and artistic work and a company or an institution or an affiliation that wishes to get that work into the hands of readers or listeners or watchers, then a radical mediator agent mediates between the creator and all of the fragmented, decentralized contributors that do that same work of getting the work from the writer to the reader. So the new radical advocate is one that basically picks up the pieces left behind by the jettisoning of traditional players in the middle of the value chain. Because while traditional players can get disintermediated all day long, the roles they play and the functions they provide remain. Some things don't change. Some things don't evaporate in the heat of innovation. Responsibilities like editorial and design and curation and publicity and marketing, promotion and data and analytics and content creation and management and craft. A lot of the things that you're here to talk about today. In a disintermediated world, the tasks that were verticalized are now horizontal and networked. And so I want to propose that if each independent author is not to start from scratch building a trusted consortium of talent, if every indie author is not to start from scratch and trying to build a measured, aggressive strategy, if every independent author is not to be left on his or her own to do their own vetting and testing and negotiating of fees and services and construction of checks and balances, if every indie author is not to be left alone in the marketplace, one determined scribe against the masses, then somebody has to begin to mediate between the author and all those many that fulfill the responsibilities left behind. Because I think we can agree on one thing, that although we love the term indie author in the way that it makes us feel warmly rebellious, it's a terribly inaccurate moniker for what we all do. None of us goes it alone. Publishing is a team sport, and allies, alliances, and partners are more vital than ever when you're entering a market that's as messy and as noisy as this one. In a digital age, because of all these tools, almost everything seems possible, and in a strange way, in that magical way that Arthur C. Clarke, that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, in this magical world, almost everything seems possible, and a lot of times it is. And you need somebody in your life to stand behind you to help you manage the possible and limit the possible to the most wise. And I want to propose that's a radical mediator agent. So here's some characteristics. A radical mediator agent is not narrow, but expansive. Instead of hovering over one little slot in the publishing value chain, overseeing a licensing agreement between a creator and a publishing company or a media company or a studio, the radical mediator thinks expansively and looks across the value web at any possible intermediary that might introduce a reader to a writer and oversees that transaction and engagement.